Hi, this is Reward Audio, and I'm going to answer Raul's question about subwoofers and sensitivity. So now, without taking out room acoustics out of the equation, which is how do you place your subs. So without just keeping that constant with one sub versus two subs, basically in terms of dynamics and sound quality, is it just as simple as having two is more efficient and we will have better dynamics? Let's just have a look at that. So eventually the problem with doubling your subwoofers is that if you have two subwoofers, then basically you have the capacity to have plus 3 dB headroom for the two of them. So the peak dynamics that your double subwoofer duo can reproduce compared to one subwoofer is a plus 3 dynamic headroom. But does it mean that now the pair of sub is more efficient than one subwoofer? No, it's not. Their efficiency is not getting better because even though you have plus 3 headroom, but you also needed to double the input power to the subs. So basically now each of the subwoofer needs its own plate amp, and they need that full watt input to have that output from each of them. So when they add up, you get that plus 3 dB versus the one subwoofer. So what happened with doubling your subs with their plate amps inside is that now you have increased the peak SPL capacity, the peak dynamic capacity, basically the headroom of your subwoofer system. However, you are not getting more dB per watt out of them. So it means that the efficiency is not going up. You are simply pushing the system less to produce a certain SPL than before, and that will be very beneficial because you have less strain in the sound and you will hit the limitation later on compared to one subwoofer. However, there's a little bit of benefit, actually not even a little bit, there's a huge benefit of using two subwoofers, and that fact is that with proper placement there is a acoustic coupling between the two subwoofers, so it means that their output adds up and you have more than that plus 3 dB benefit that comes by, instead of just hitting a single subwoofer with 1 watt or 100 watt, now you are hitting each of them with the same amount of power. And technically that should result in a plus 3 dB boost, but when there's acoustic coupling between them, that can add up to an additional 3 dB boost because they are working together, and the two of them has a much easier job of creating low frequency sound waves than one alone, and that we see as an increase in dynamics. But as I said, this increase in dynamics is up to 3 dB only. However, where you are going to see the tremendous benefit of using one pair of subwoofers versus one is the low extension of the subwoofer. So basically what's going to happen, because they are able to couple at low frequency, you are going to see that the low extension of a pair of subwoofer goes much lower than a single sub. So for example, if you have a subwoofer that's rated at, let's say, minus 6 dB at 30 Hertz, if you use a pair of them, then it's quite possible that you are getting the same minus dB rating not at 30 Hertz but at 25 Hertz or even lower. And that's because low frequency sound waves are really hard to produce, but when you have two units working in conjunction, then that tremendously benefits the low extension. So So in my opinion, that's the real benefit of using a pair of subwoofers, that you are getting an additional extension towards the bottom of the frequency range. And if you use four subwoofers that are each rated at 30 hertz at a specific minus dB, then if you use two, then you are going maybe down to 25 hertz. If you use four of them, you can easily hit 22 hertz or maybe even 20 hertz with them. So that's why do not worry if you have like one subwoofer today and it's rated only at a comparatively not so appealing 30 hertz. If you double it or quadruple it, that low floor is going to get lower and lower. So thank you, Raul, for this wonderful question, and I hope that this helped everyone to clarify a little bit what's happening when we are doubling or quadrupling our subs. It's not getting more dynamic because they also need more power. So the concept of the dynamics is basically the decibel per watt. So with a certain input power, what is the dynamic range we can produce? And when we double speakers, then even though we are doubling the peak dB range, but we are also doubling the amount of watts that's needed to reach it. So basically the efficiency stays the same, but the headroom is getting higher, and you are staying, even if you don't want to listen too loud, and it has the ability to handle all your needs, but it's going to stay at the optimum region of its working range for much longer, and you are going to get higher quality sound out of it. So thank you, please like, subscribe, have a wonderful day, bye bye.